Hello and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and today I am still doing some spooky stuff whenever I can find them. This one is one I found on my own. I will be constantly looking for and going back through my backlog of stuff. But this is the true horror story that inspired The Ring, the legend of Okiku's well. Just thought this would be kind of fun. Just thought it'd be interesting. This is from channel Beauty and the Beasts. Haven't seen any of their stuff before. No idea what really to expect here. But, I mean, this will be fun. Let's find out what happened to the real Samara. That was her, right? In the ring.
Hey there, my beauties and beasts. How have you guys been? When a video goes up from Megan, you know it's story time. We all live in different time zones, so if it's morning where you are, maybe save this for tonight. And if you've just gotten off work and you're ready to chill, you're right on time. Okay, today's story is from Japan, and I'm pretty sure you all know the horror movie The Ring. That movie. I still haven't been able to finish it. It's just so scary. The pale woman with long black hair crawling out of a well, her body twisting in impossible angles, and the whispered curse, 7 days. The cursed videotape that seals your fate. But what if I told you that this wasn't just creative genius?
I mean, has anybody put it on a DVD yet? For The Ring 3 or whatever? Because that's what you mean, DVD, streaming service. I feel like Samara's gonzo. No one watches physical media anymore. So, she's gone, right? She can't do anything else.
What if the most terrifying image in modern horror, a vengeful woman emerging from a well, was pulled directly from a Japanese ghost story that's over 400 years old? The story is so disturbing, it has haunted the Japanese consciousness ever since. So this is the tale of Okiku, a servant girl whose torment was so profound that her ghost couldn't stop counting. And this isn't just folklore. This story is rooted in real places you can visit today. In a well-documented historical period, in a castle that still stands as a monument to both beauty and the unspeakable cruelty. So let's begin.
I feel like maybe I should be in the dark for this.
Our story takes place during the Edo period, also called the Tokugawa period, which began in 1603 when Tokugawa Ieyasu seized power after his decisive victory at the Battle of Sekigahara. This era lasted until 1868, when the Meiji Restoration dismantled the feudal system. For over 250 years, Japan existed in a state of enforced peace. No foreign wars, no internal conflicts, just the iron grip of samurai rule and the rigid hierarchy of a society where your birth determined your entire life. This period was an era where exquisite culture and brutal oppression existed side by side. Tea ceremonies and poetry readings happened in the same castles, where men killed themselves to preserve their honor. Beauty and violence weren't opposites, they were twins. And at the center of our story stands Himeji Castle, located in present-day Hyogo Prefecture.
Is she did she just grab her false eyelashes off, or is she putting them on?
Built in the 14th century and expanded dramatically in the early 1600s, Himeji Castle is no ordinary fortress. Its pristine white walls earned it the nickname White Heron Castle. And today, it's recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of only 12 original castles remaining in Japan.
Wow.
So in spring, cherry blossoms frame its elegant towers like pink clouds, and tourists flock to photograph what many consider the most beautiful castle in all of Japan. But beauty, as we'll discover, can hide the darkest secrets. So there was a woman named Okiku. In the social hierarchy of Edo period Japan, she was nobody, just a servant girl, possibly from a family that had fallen on hard times, possibly an orphan, depending on which version of the tale you follow. There are different retellings. Pancho Sarayashiki, the dish.
This is interesting. I also say, I'm interested in the story, but I'm also interested in her, sort of still she does a motion and then like has a pose, and she kind of sticks with it for a while as she's doing her routine, whatever this is.
Mansion at Pancho and Panshu Sarayashiki, the dish mansion in Harima province. But the core of the story remains hauntingly consistent. Okiku was what people in the era would call a model employee. She arrived early, stayed late, and took genuine pride in her work.
Okay.
While other servants rushed through their duties, Okiku moved with care. She smiled at her masters, hummed while she worked, and never complained about the endless tasks that filled her days from dawn until long after dark.
Oof.
Of all her responsibilities, one
girl.
stood above the rest in importance. She was entrusted with the care of 10 priceless porcelain plates. And these weren't ordinary dishes.
I wouldn't want that. F that. No way. It's like I complain. Like I break stuff all the time. All the time I break stuff. Absolutely do not give me anything valuable or fragile. Don't put it in my hands. Don't let me look at it. Don't put me like not in the same room as me. It is dangerous to put me in the same room as anything because just don't do it. Don't do it. It's bad luck for you.
They were family heirlooms. Dutch Delftware
Those
or
plates are
Chinese
gonna
porcelain,
die.
perhaps worth
so will
more
she.
than Okiku would earn in multiple lifetimes. In an era where such items represented not just wealth, but status and legacy,
I feel like if you break one of those, you have no choice but to run away.
being given
Like it would be better to like literally be homeless like than break one of those, it sounds like.
responsibility for them was both an honor and an enormous burden. Every morning, Okiku would carefully remove the plates from their box. Ichimai, she would count. 1 plate. Nimai, 2 plates. Sanmai, 3 plates. She would clean each one with meticulous care, inspect it
Every
for any
day.
damage, and return it safely to storage. Then she would count again. 4마이, 5마이, 6마이, 7마이, 8마이, 9마이, 10마이, 1 through 10, every single day. Never a mistake. For Okiku, this ritual wasn't tedious. It was almost meditative, even sacred. She found peace in the counting, in the certainty that she was doing her job perfectly. The plates
Until
were
something
always there,
breaks.
1 through 10, always. Until the day they weren't. And this is where the story splits into different versions, but the pattern of abuse remains constant across all of them. In one version, preserved in an old text,
Also, this kind of skincare routine, I could never. Like, I could never. I barely remember to put on like makeup some days. You know? It's like, well, whatever, sure. Like a little bit of concealer, a little bit of eye makeup. That's almost always it. Every so often I'll do something a little bit more. But like even that, it's like, wipe it all off. And then a little bit of moisturizer. That's it, the end. Just like take my makeup off at the end of the night, little bit of moisturizer. I don't every so often I'll be given like little sets of something that I can use, and I'll do it for a bit. I just don't usually remember to. Like it's exhausting trying to keep up with like a routine like that. I don't know. It's not meditative for me. It's annoying.
name the famous places and trees of Harima province, a chief retainer named Asayama Tetsuzan had been plotting to overthrow the castle's lord during a succession crisis, and he needed leverage. So his eyes fell on
kidnapped the
Okiku.
plates.
Perhaps he genuinely desired her. Perhaps she was simply a tool to him. Regardless, he made his intentions clear: become his lover or face the consequences. In another version, it was Okiku's own master, a man already married to a woman from a respected family, who became obsessed with a beautiful servant girl. He approached her repeatedly with offers of comfort, status, even love, money, property, position, everything a poor servant girl should want. Everything except that Okiku actually wanted: to be left alone to do her work and live her life with dignity.
Yeah, not
Some
get
tellings add a
assaulted.
romantic element where Okiku was in love with someone else, perhaps another servant, perhaps even the rightful heir to the castle. This love gave her strength to refuse. but it also painted a target on her back.
Yeah,
Because rejection
dangerous.
rarely sits well with powerful men who aren't accustomed to hearing no.
Or even not powerful men. Like, even if it's just like a normal dude, it can be scary to tell them no. Like I usually just lie. Like, even if I don't know if the man is powerful or not, like sometimes sometimes guys are a little bit more receptive to rejection if you are already taken. So I have invented a partner. Because it's like it can be scary. So it's like someone, it's like they're usually taller, they're usually bigger, and then it's asking us like, oh, I can't, I have to be nice, and it's like, oh no, it's not you, I'm taken, and then usually they leave you alone. After that, usually, either way, I feel for this girl. Scary place to be in, especially because she like is stuck there with the guy. I don't care about this routine.
And the plan was sickeningly simple. One of the 10 precious plates would go missing, and Okiku would be blamed. In some versions, the plate was merely hidden. In others, far more cruel, the master took one of the priceless heirlooms and smashed it, throwing the pieces down a well where they could never be recovered. The specifics vary, but the malice remains the same. When they confronted Okiku about the missing plate, she was incredulous. She counted them again and again, her hands shaking. Ichimai, nimai, sanmai. Her voice grew more desperate with each number.
Yeah.
Hachimai, kumai. 8 plates, 9 plates, and then nothing. She recounted, panic rising in her throat, again and again, always reaching the same terrible conclusion.
Yep.
9 plates, only 9. The master's wife, in at least one version, showed mercy. It was only 1 plate, after all. But her husband was insistent. This was theft, he declared. This was betrayal. The punishment for stealing from a samurai household could be death. Unless Okiku agreed to his terms. He would somehow find the missing plate. He would show mercy. All she had to do was surrender her body, her dignity, herself.
Girl.
No, Okiku said. And her nightmare began.
Wow, she actually
What happened
still said
next
no?
varies in its details, but
I don't know if I would. I think at that point I'd be like, I would just give up. I'd be like, I would be, I don't know, I'm not as strong as Okiku. I'd be like, all right. It's not consent. It's still horrific, but at least I'm not gonna die and it'll be over, right? Just once, right? Just one time.
not in its horror. Okiku was beaten with a bokken, a wooden training sword that could break bones without drawing blood. Her face was slapped until it swelled. Her hair was pulled until she screamed. She was suspended over the well, dangling above the darkness, while her tormentor enjoyed her terror. But the beating wasn't enough. In the most visceral versions of her tale, her master decided on a particularly symbolic punishment. He would cut off her middle finger, the same finger she used to count the plates. Ichimai, nimai, sanmai would be severed as compensation for the missing dish. The physical pain was unbearable. But worse than that was the psychological torture. Being punished for a crime she didn't commit. Being mutilated for maintaining her integrity. Okiku was locked away, bleeding, traumatized, her finger wrapped in crude bandages, her mind fracturing under the weight of such justice. Somehow, the stories don't specify how she escaped her confinement, or perhaps she didn't escape at all. Perhaps she simply couldn't bear another moment of existence in a world this cruel. There was a well near the gate of Himeji Castle, the Harakirimaru, where dishonored samurai took their own lives through ritual disembowelment. In some versions, Okiku saw something glinting at the bottom, the broken pieces of the missing plate. In others, she simply couldn't endure any more suffering. She jumped. The well was deep, so deep that her screams echoed off the stone walls as she fell. So deep that her body was never properly recovered. So deep that her death was not quick or...
See, I feel like going off of if this is, this is all based on folklore, which is often based on something real. So my interpretation, just guessing, would be that like all of this stuff happens and she it goes too far and she dies, and they didn't mean to do that. So in order to cover up killing her, they threw her down the well. Or like they were doing that well dangling thing and she slipped and fell through, something like that, where, but again, this is all like folklore and myth, right? Wait, I think she said it was folklore.
Merciful, but slow and terrifying in the cold, dark water at the bottom. And that is when the counting began. Death should have been Okiku's release. Instead, it became her prison. On the first night after her death, servants staying late at the castle heard something that made their blood freeze.
Yeah.
A woman's voice, faint and echoing, coming from the direction of the well. Ichimai, 1 plate. Nimai, 2 plates. The counting continued, steady and methodical, just as Okiku had counted in life. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then silence, followed by sobbing, deep, wrenching sobs that seemed to contain all the grief and injustice of the world.
Oh my God.
And then, before anyone could process what they'd heard, the counting began again. Ichimai, Nimai, Sanmai. Servants who dared approach the well reported seeing a figure, a woman in a white kimono, the traditional garment for burial, with long black hair obscuring most of her face. Her skin was corpse pale. Her body was so skinny that bones pressed against the fabric. She knelt beside the well, counting plates that weren't there, searching for the 10th plate she would never find. Night after night, the counting continued. Kumai, 9 plates. And then that heartbreaking pause, the crying, and the count beginning anew. She was trapped in this eternal loop of her final task, unable to complete it, unable to rest. This is what makes Okiku's haunting so uniquely terrifying. It's not violent or aggressive.
Yeah.
She doesn't attack the living or seek revenge directly. Her ghost is a manifestation of obsessive-compulsive trauma, endlessly repeating the action that led to her downfall. Several months after Okiku's death, the master's wife gave birth to a daughter. The household erupted in celebration. Servants prepared feasts. Officials offered congratulations. Everyone marveled at the beautiful baby girl.
She doesn't have a finger.
Except the father. When he looked at his newborn daughter, witnesses reported that his face went white as death. His hands trembled. Some said he looked as though he'd seen a ghost. The baby was missing her right middle finger, not a clean congenital defect, but an absence that eerily mirrored the mutilation he had inflicted on Okiku. The finger appeared to have been severed, though the baby had obviously been born that way. Coincidence? Maybe. But in the master's mind, it was a message written in flesh. I see you.
God. Yes.
Remember. And everyone who looks at your daughter will know what you did. As the word of Okiku's torture spread, quietly at first, then more openly, the scandal reached the authorities. In a shocking turn of events, the master was stripped of his lands and titles. This was extraordinary. Servants were considered property in feudal Japan. For a samurai to lose everything over the death of a servant girl suggested either that his crimes were far worse than initially reported, or that Okiku's ghost had made the castle so unbearable that official intervention became necessary.
Interesting.
But even his punishment didn't end the haunting. New families moved into the castle, different servants worked the halls. Years passed, then decades, and still, on quiet nights, people reported hearing a woman's voice counting from the well. Ichimai, Nimai, Sanmai, always stopping at 9, always followed by weeping. One family finally decided enough was enough.
Did they get rid of
They
the well?
summoned a Buddhist monk named Ryoyo Shonin from a nearby temple, a holy man known for his ability to pacify restless spirits. The monk arrived at sunset and positioned himself near the well.
Okay, just like quickly saying, I recently did like a ghost story thing, like a 5 ghost stories or whatever, like Irish ghost stories. This is what I was hoping for from that. Like, this is what I really, because I'm like, I can't remember like how much of this is the ghost story and how much of it is the folklore and how much of it is like potentially real. Like, I don't know. And I love that. So I want people to send me more stuff like this. Like things that I don't know. This is what I want. This is what I want. I want people to send me this kind of thing so I can like look it up. And like it could be videos like this, it could be stuff on like Reddit. Like I don't care. Like I'll if it's a cool thing on Reddit, I'll just like read it. You know? Or like send me stuff like this. This is so cool. And again, the fact that I can't remember what's like folklore and like what might have really happened and what did anyway.
As darkness fell, the counting began, just as it had for years. Ichimai, nimai, sanmai. Ryoyo Shonin began chanting sutras, his voice steady and calm. The ghost counting grew louder, almost competing with his prayers. Ryokumai, shichimai, hachimai, 6, 7, 8, kumai, 9 plates. The pause. That terrible pause that everyone had heard countless times. That moment of absence and grief. And then, before Okiku's ghost could begin crying, before she could start the count again, Ryoyo Shonin shouted with perfect timing, "Jumai, 10 plates." The servants watching from behind half-closed doors held their breath. Would the ghost rage at this interruption? Would she attack the monk for his presumption? Instead, the ghostly figure turned toward Ryoyo Shonin. Her pale face, which had shown nothing but anguish for so long, softened. She smiled, a genuine relieved smile. And she spoke her first words in years beyond her endless counting. Ara ureshi. Oh, how happy I am. And then Okiku's ghost simply faded. The counting stopped.
So it's
the
gone.
crying ended.
Oh, wow.
After years of being trapped in her loop of trauma, someone had finally given her what she needed. Completion. The 10th plate. Permission to finish her task and move on. The well fell silent. Okiku's story became one of the most famous ghost tales in Japanese history, adapted into kabuki plays, bunraku puppet theater, and countless retellings. The tale influenced Japanese horror aesthetics for centuries. The image of a wronged woman with long black hair associated with water, seeking justice, or at least acknowledgement for the wrongs done to her. When Japanese horror cinema exploded onto the global stage, Okiku's ghost was there. Ringu, released in 1998 and later remade as The Ring in 2002, features Sadako Yamamura, a vengeful female spirit with long black hair who crawls from a well. The parallels are unmistakable. Director Hideo Nakata has acknowledged that classical Japanese ghost stories, including Okiku's tale, influenced his vision of Sadako's appearance and her emergence from the well. That iconic, spine-chilling scene that traumatized a generation of moviegoers. Today, if you visit Himeji Castle, and I encourage you to do, it's breathtaking, you can see the Okiku-ido, the well of Okiku located near the castle's inner bailey.
I can't believe they didn't get rid of it.
Tour guides will tell you the story, and if you're there at the right time, in the quiet of evening when the crowds have gone, you might feel a chill run down your spine.
You shouldn't,
Not
though, because she's
necessarily
gone.
because you believe in ghosts, but because standing there, looking down into that dark stone well, you can almost hear it. Ichimai, nimai, sanmai. But what makes Okiku's story genuinely terrifying isn't the supernatural element, it's the reality beneath it. A young woman was tortured and killed for refusing to be sexually exploited. Her refusal to surrender her dignity cost her everything. And even in death, she couldn't escape the task that had been used to trap her. And this is horror
Such a
rooted in
bummer.
truth, the
Yeah.
vulnerability of the powerless, the cruelty of those who abuse their authority, and the way trauma can trap us in loops we can't escape. Okiku counts forever because she was never allowed to simply do her job, to simply live her life. The plates, those 10 precious plates, became both her duty and her doom. So, the next time you watch a horror movie and see a woman with long black hair emerging from a well, remember Okiku. Okay, did you like today's story?
Yes, it
I'd
was
love to
good.
hear your thoughts, so drop them in the comments. And if you guys want me to cover other urban legends around the world or haunted places, also let me know. And one more
Also
thing,
tell
I've
me
been
those
getting a
stories. I
lot
want
of
to know.
emails, so I recently made a separate one just for stories to make sure yours don't get lost. It's batbstories@gmail.com, so send your stories and recommendations there. Thanks so much, and I hope you all sleep well. See you soon. Bye.
Bye. Okay, that was actually really cool. And again, like I said, that's the kind of stories that I was hoping to get from like the Irish ghost stories that I was reading, like what I was seeing last time. I feel like those stories felt a little bit more like creepypastas, you know? This one felt like, again, because again, she mentioned it was folklore. So like this is the kind of thing I want to see. I want to see more stuff like this. Um Message it in the comments, or you can, message me, like you can email it to me. lauren.chicagoreacts@gmail.com. I think it's in the YouTube header. So like that's the kind of thing. Absolutely, you can email me cool stories and stuff. And I would love to see it. And if it was cool enough, and even if there's not a video, like if you send me some cool like stories, maybe I'll like go crazy and make a video one day. Actually, I'm kind of working on one now for somebody on Patreon. It's about Stuart Semple and Anish Kapoor. So not a spooky story, just a fun one. But so look, people are asking me to do some stuff. I'll do some stuff. I'll like give it a go. I'll give it a try. But no, this is the kind of thing that I was hoping to get out of the Irish ghost stories from the Irish, yeah, hauntings. Um, so this was great. I'm glad I found this. And yeah, let me know what I should look at next, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.